No time to waste. It's Friday. Let's go to work.
DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. It is Friday, October 31st. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. It's Friday, October 31st. Happy Halloween, everybody out there. You're watching this video on Saturday, November 1st. This is the Q&A. The way this Q&A works is I go through all the comments from the previous week's video and I answer all the comments in rapid fire succession. I have not looked at any of these comments yet, so I don't know what is going to be asked of me. If you have questions, you'll leave them in the comments to this video, and then you check back next week and you'll see me respond to what you had to ask. Before we get into that, just a couple things I need to mention. Number one, woyg.net is where you can get all your merchandise, from the hats to the bands to the shirts to the hoodies, iPhone cases. We got it all, woyg.net. Next thing is that there's going to be a big basketball event for all players out there of all levels who eventually want to become professionals. This is not about to happen. The event's not about to happen in a very near future, but it's going to happen. So make sure you keep checking back with me for updates on that, because I will be putting something out to let everybody know exactly what the next steps are as it goes along. But that's out in the future, but I'm just planting the seed with y'all right now. Anything else I need to say? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so let's get right into the Q&A. Again, I'm gonna go right through these questions from last week, from the first question that was posted to the most recent. If I don't see your question and I don't read it out, that's because for whatever reason Google didn't put your comment in the comments to this video, so you gotta talk to Google. Don't complain to me if you don't hear me say your question, because if it's there, I'm gonna read it. Next question. First question. Chris from Switzerland says, am I planning to do some training work with Devin Williams in the near future? No, I'm not, but can never say what may happen in the distant future. Next, Louis says, I live in England. If you don't know, basketball over here isn't very good. Hopefully when I'm older, I want to play overseas because it's better, but I heard that you played overseas, so he's wondering, how do you adapt to the language and lifestyle of the country you're in? Well, you just adapt. I mean, when you get thrown into the situation, you don't have time to think about it or worry about it or be sad or upset or anything else about it. You just got to deal with it because you're there and you have to deal with the situation that's in front of you. So there is no how, you just will. If somebody dropped you in China tomorrow and you didn't have no way to leave, you would figure out a way to survive there or you would die. That's the only two choices that you got, so you would figure it out. Next question is called Working on My Game. He says, Dre, I want to say thanks for the videos I learned from. Working on my game, I managed to make the one's bottom age. I don't know what that means, but I guess that's a positive thing, so you're welcome and congratulations. Next question, Worm Chemistry says, do you still remember the best teammate you've ever had on the team? If yes, are you still in touch with him? Best teammate I ever had on the basketball team as far as skills would probably be Eddie Griffin, dude I played with, who went to Seton Hall. He was the #1 player in our class, the class of 2000. He went to Seton Hall, then he went to the NBA after 1 year. He was drafted by New Jersey. He got traded to Houston. He played there for a minute, then he went to Minnesota, and then he ended up dying. He died in a car crash. He was the best player, and we were never friends. We never talked to each other like that, but he was the best player who was ever on a team I was on. Daniel Zimmerman said, I just finished day 2 of tryouts for 8th grade. My first day was okay. I was bad on the second day. He said, how can I develop myself mentally so I work better on my game? I haven't been playing long, but I practice every day. I'm one of the best dribblers at tryouts. I'm told I'm really good. I just don't do things at the right time. What can I do to develop myself as a better player? Well, the first thing you can do, Daniel, is work on your fucking game. I mean, you already know that. You on this Q&A, which means you've seen my videos. You heard me say that a million times already. So asking me what you can do to be a better player is not a very good question. You had to ask me something much more specific than that. Walter McCann says, would James Harden be a good fit on the Bulls? I think James Harden would be a good fit on pretty much any NBA team, because somebody with his skills would make any team better. Is it necessarily, some teams he'd be better than some other teams, but yes, I think he'd be a good fit on a whole lot of teams. I can't believe it's Jay. Says, I'm 14, 5'9" tall, I live in Europe. I made the high school team. I joined another team. I've been there for 2 months, and it's hard to learn the plays because they're speaking a different language than the language that I speak. I have people translate, but it's harder. I feel like the coach thinks that I suck. He picks me last in any scrimmage, and I'm challenging for a starting spot, but the other team's coach thinks I'm shit. Any advice? Well, first of all, you're making a whole lot of assumptions and you're killing yourself here. You're the problem. Not the coach, not the language, not the teammates. You're the problem. First of all, you said you find it hard to learn the plays because they're speaking a different language. That's bullshit, because I played on plenty of teams where nobody was speaking the language that I speak, which is English. I don't speak any other languages fluently enough to understand them. Basketball speak is the same language. It's setting the pick, you know what setting the pick is. If you're sitting there in practice and you watching the team run through the plays and the coach directs somebody to set a pick, you see them do it. So it's not like everything's written in words. Now you got to read a book to know the plays. You standing there looking at people do it. So to say you don't understand the plays because of language is a bullshit ass weak excuse. Number 2, you say you think the coach thinks that you suck because he picks you ass in every drill or scrimmage. So first of all, if the coach didn't tell you that, you are assuming that. And the reason that you think you're a bum because you think that everybody else thinks you're a bum, which that your thoughts are making your reality. So you are seeing yourself as a bum because you're projecting everybody else seeing you as a bum. So obviously you're a bum because you're putting those thoughts in your mind. You're doing that to yourself. Then you said the same thing about a different coach. So all these excuses you're making, the only problem in your life right now is you. So stop the weak excuses, stop the bullshit. Read my book called The Mirror of Motivation, and then read my other book called The Mental Handbook. You can get both of those, dreallday.com/mirror of motivation, dreallday.com/mental handbook. You need to read both of those front to back and then read them again and stop with the BS. KCI Octalis says, I had tryouts on Monday and Tuesday for JV. Can I have some advice? And why didn't you make your team your freshman year? Can you have some advice, KCI? Show up to tryouts and be ready to play. Ask me a better question than can you have some advice. I didn't put out too much content here for people to still be asking me these general ass questions when I've already covered this stuff 1,000 times. Again, I made a video about tryouts about 3-4 weeks ago. Go look that video up and watch it if you want some advice. And why didn't I make my team my freshman year? If you know that I didn't make it, then that means you probably heard me tell the story. And if you didn't hear me tell the story, you can read my book, Buy a Game, my first book, which you can read for free, the PDF version, at dreallday.com/buyagame, BUYAGAME. Next is a Greek dancer. Says, Dre, I have put tons and tons of work on my game, but I think I'm thinking too much about my shots. I miss easy shots that I should make. It frustrates me because I keep missing, because I don't want to miss again. Then I miss and I stop short and don't shoot. How can I fix the mental aspect of my game and make more shots? Read the mental handbook, dreallday.com/mental handbook, and also read the guides and tips page on my website. Caesification says, Dre, which fingers do you shoot off of, and does hand placement make a difference for 4-fingered shooters? Which fingers do I shoot off of? I don't know and never thought about it and don't even care about it. I just get the ball and I shoot it. I'm past the point of thinking about which fingers I'm shooting off of, so I really can't give you any information on that as far as how I shoot. And does hand placement make a difference for 4-fingered shooters? What the hell is a 4-fingered shooter? I don't know what that is, never heard of it, and don't care to know about it, so you had to tell me a little bit more about what the hell that is for me to be able to answer your question. It's On says, do you think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time? Yes, I do. The Cautious Beef says, this isn't really related to basketball, but what other hobby do you like doing besides basketball? Read my website, dreallday.com, the About page, and you'll see me talk about everything I like other than basketball. Watch where you're going, you fool. He says, Dre, I saw your diet and nutrition video and you said Gatorade is good for long workouts. I want to know if Powerade is also good for long workouts. Well, I've actually changed my mind a few times on Gatorade through those videos, as I put out more than one diet and nutrition video, the person who asked me this question. So there isn't just one video, there's several. So I'd say I was stopping Gatorade, then I started again, then I stopped again. As of now, I don't drink Gatorade anymore, and Gatorade and Powerade is pretty much the same thing. So do I think if Gatorade is good, then Powerade would be good. If Gatorade is bad, then Powerade is bad. They're both pretty much the same shit. Julie MacArthur says, why did I not include Dirk in my power forward list? Because I didn't include him in the list. I mean, why didn't I include Mario Chalmers in the point guards, or Jose Juan Barea, or why didn't I name somebody else, Manu Ginobili in the 2 guards? Why didn't I put somebody else? I can't even think of nobody's names. Why didn't I put Andre Drummond in the centers? They just didn't make the list. Antonio Garza says, play in the Jordan 29, you will thank me later. I don't know about that, Antonio. You might have to buy me a second pair to play in. Mario Habashi says, what's up, Dre? I had basketball tryouts in 3 weeks. I'm a good shooter, but I can't drive because my ball handling sucks. What can I do to improve my driving in the paint? Well, if tryouts are in 3 weeks, you should probably just focus on doing what you were good at, which is shooting, because you're not going to become a great ball handler in 3 weeks. But what you can do is start using the drills in my ball handling playlist and get yourself the signature handles bundle at hoophandbook.com and start working on your handle, because all the time that you've been working on your shooting, you weren't working on your handling. It's going to take just that much time to become good at ball handling. So there are no quick fixes. There's nothing you're going to do in 3 weeks that's going to make you good at ball handling. You need to start putting in the work now so that you'll be good later on in the future. The problem a lot of players have is they don't want to do that. They want the quick fix, and then they don't do anything. Then they end up a bum. Then they wonder what happened all the time. Retro 5 says, why not put Tim Duncan in the power forwards and center list going into the season? The same answer to the question that was asked earlier. I just didn't put him in there. That's it. John Smith says, Dre, what makes you not respect a basketball player? I don't know. You had to ask me something specific and I can give you an answer, but I'm not just going to sit here and give you a list of things. Wakeman Elderbrock says, can I do a top 5 players of all time at each position? I thought I did that already, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I'll do that in the future if I haven't done it already, but don't hold your breath waiting for that video. I might get around to that. I might not. But thanks for the suggestion. Aitor Alberto says, Dre, I have a very selfish teammate. He doesn't pass, and every time I play with him, he gets worse and worse. He's the son of the coach, so the coach won't tell him anything. I talked to the coach and told him I'm not the only one experiencing it. He says that he will talk to him, but still everything is the same. Do I have any advice? Yes, here's the number one piece of advice. Stop bitching about what other people is doing. If it's so much of a problem to you, Aitor, get off the team and go play for somebody else, so then that player and the coach will no longer be a problem in your life. So there, I just solved your problem for you. So that's choice B, and choice A is shut the fuck up and keep working. Austin MP says, what part of your game have you had the most success developing in the past year and how? All of my game. Stan Morrisell says, Dre, if you didn't play basketball or do YouTube, what would you be doing? I don't know. That is what I do. I do a lot of other things other than those two also, so who knows? But I can't really say what would I be doing if I didn't do both of those things. Awesome Ivory says, you say that you didn't use your college major in the real world. So what's the point of paying for all that money for college anyways? Have you ever felt like you wasted money? I'm personally not going to be part of the biggest scam in the United States. Well, first of all, people call anything a scam if they don't like it. Somebody will say a bank is a scam. People will say YouTube is a scam. They'll say playing basketball is a scam. Airlines is a scam. Cell phones is a scam. Computers are a scam. Anytime somebody don't like something, they'll call it a scam. So it's not the government, but colleges are not a scam. I wouldn't say that. I mean, first of all, you have to define what a scam is. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's a scam. But anyway, I did say that I don't really use my college major in the real world. I kind of do, but I don't, as in I majored in business management and marketing. And a lot of the things that I do now have to do with marketing. But nobody at that school taught me any of the stuff that I'm actually doing. So if I go to somebody and they see what I do, they see my profile, my business profile, and then I say, oh, I got a degree in marketing. They say, oh, so you're doing the thing that you got your degree in. Depending on who I'm talking to, I might just say, yeah, you know what, absolutely right. But when I'm talking to other people, I will say, like, none of the teachers could teach me anything, because who knew back then that something like this would exist? So how could they teach it? They can't teach it because they can't do it. They didn't do it. You can't teach something that you haven't lived. So none of them could have taught me about YouTube, because there was no such thing as YouTube. And none of them could teach me how to play basketball, because none of them had played basketball. And I don't think many of them had written books or done any of the other stuff. So you can't teach something that you haven't actually done. The only thing that the American educational system teaches generally teaches people how to go work for somebody and follow the rules, because the people who are teaching you, they're employees of the school. So somebody's telling them what to do, they do it. So they're going to teach you the exact same thing. So if that's not the path you're going to go, maybe college is not for you, but there are a lot of other things that go into college. For example, as an athlete, I wasn't ready to be a professional when I was 18. I needed that 4 years of seasoning so I could be good enough to be a professional athlete. So it wasn't just about school. And there's also the socialization aspect. If you lived at home for the first 18 years of your life, you get 4 years to be away from your parents, away from your home, and be semi on your own, where you know you got that security blanket of your parents if anything goes crazy, but you also get to kind of do your own thing while you're out there at school. So there's a lot of other things that go into being a college student besides what you're learning in the classroom. And the majority of people, to keep it all the way real, majority of people are not going to do what I ended up doing. Majority of people are going to end up working for somebody and doing and basically following the instructions of the person who's in charge of your job. So school would perfectly be for you because they're going to train you to do exactly what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. And that's not a good thing or a bad thing necessarily, it's just the reality. So not everybody needs to you can't look at what somebody else did and say, oh, I'm not going to do it either because this guy didn't do it, but you're not that guy. You're you, your situation is only yours. You have to look at it exactly for you. And if you're not going to do that, what are you going to do? And how is that better than the plan of actually going to school? And you don't have to answer that to me or anybody else. You got to answer it to yourself, because in the end, when your life is over, the only thing that's going to matter is what did you accomplish? What did you achieve? Now, however you got to do it, you do it. But that's the only thing that's going to matter in the end. You saying something was a scam or you didn't get into it because it is, nobody's going to care. All they're going to care about is the results that you end up with when you bury it in the ground. Next, Eshwar Tangaraga says, why would I not play in the Jordan 29s? They're $225 and they were approved to be the most comfortable shoe on the market by Kick Genius and Nightwing. Also, do you watch 10,000 Hours? Keep up the good work. Let's work backwards here. First of all, 10,000 Hours, that's Devin Williams. I did a video with him last summer, so if you just search my name and his name, you'll see the video we did together. The other thing is, the shoes were approved to be the most comfortable shoe on the market by Kick Genius and Nightwing. That's funny. Well, those are 2 people, 3 people, and those are just opinions. Just because they said it doesn't make it a fact. How comfortable something is not black and white. That's all in the eyes of the beholder. So I could put on a shoe and say this is terrible. Another person can put it on and say this is excellent. So just because somebody else says something doesn't mean that everybody has to follow it. And that's I'm guessing that you're mid-teens. You're somewhere at the age of 16 or younger to be thinking that way. Because if you're older than that, then that'd be a problem. But if you're 16 or younger, then I can understand your train of thought. But I'm a little bit older, and just because somebody says something doesn't mean you have to agree with it. And definitely doesn't mean you have to follow it. And the other thing is, why wouldn't I play in them? They're $225. Well, I didn't pay for them, so how much they cost don't matter to me. And anyway, if you pay a whole bunch of money for some clothing, doesn't mean you got to play basketball in it. You might go wear it on a date, or you might go wear it to a business meeting, because that makes you look good too, in addition to playing. So there are a lot of things you could do with something that's expensive besides play basketball in it, but that's a whole other conversation. Matt Medcalf says, what shooting drills do you do or know you can do by yourself? And the same with handling. Thanks in advance. Matt, what the hell kind of question is that? You must be new to this channel, so go click on my name down there and look at the videos that I got here. And if you come back to the Q&A, ask me a better question than that. Assortment says, do I have any advice for middle school basketball? What about middle school basketball? If you want to get a specific answer, you got to ask me a specific question. If you ask a general question like that, then there's nothing I can tell you. I love to hoop says, what do I prefer, street ball or a regular official game? I like both. I like basketball in all forms. Sean Latchman says, how do I get good at playing on a team when I'm really good at playing one-on-one? Well, the same way you got good at one-on-one, Sean, is probably by playing a whole bunch of it. So the way you'll get good on the team is by playing a whole bunch of that. Royal Freshness says, I'm in grade 10. I'm actually really good at basketball. For the last 2 months, my school's been having scrimmages to get ready. I feel like I could become the senior team's point guard, but every time we play, they never pass me the ball. And when they do, my mentality is destroyed and I just pass it. I keep thinking that they hate me for some reason or don't want me to touch the ball. How can I overcome mental obstacles like this? Well, Royal Freshness, I will say I do applaud you for turning it on yourself instead of blaming it on them. But you did throw in some weakness in there talking about, what did he say? I keep thinking that they hate me for some reason, don't want me to touch the ball. They don't. Let me tell you something about the players who are not passing you the ball, all right? They don't give a damn about you or anything you're thinking, saying, or doing. They probably don't even know that you exist, okay? They don't hate you. Hate is a very strong emotion. If any of you ever hated somebody, that means you were paying a whole lot of attention to that person, Okay, so any of you players out there who's not getting in the game, or you're sitting at the end of the bench, the coach doesn't hate you. The coach coach could barely even remember your name. He don't even care about you. Okay, if a player you're playing with is not passing you the ball, they don't hate you. If you didn't show up tomorrow, they wouldn't even notice. Okay, so hate is when you're paying very strong attention to a person. So when somebody says, like, for instance, you ever hear somebody say they have haters? A hater is a person who's really, really focused on you, just in a negative way. So a hater is really just a fan. You ever heard somebody say a hater is a confused fan? Because a hater is a person they're focused on you. They put so much attention on you. That's the same that a fan does, except the fan is positive and a hater is negative. The people you're talking about who are not passing you the ball, that's not hate. Okay, that's what we call indifference. They don't even care about you. They don't know you exist. If you stop showing up at the gym, nobody would say, hey, what happened in such and such, because nobody gives a damn who you are anyway. But anyway, to answer your question, you can read my book, The Mental Handbook, DreAllDay.com/mental handbook, also The Mirror of Motivation, DreAllDay.com/mirror of motivation. Those are the two things you can do to fix your mental obstacle. But I do applaud you for at least recognizing that the obstacle is yours and not anybody else's. Them Rican Boys says, what's a quote you picked up from reading that you often reiterate to people when they ask you for advice? There's nothing I would say I picked up from reading. The number one quote that I give people when they ask me for advice, especially in these Q&As, is work on your fucking games. People ask me questions about how they can get better when they already know what the answer is going to be. But there's no one quote from reading that I often give. Ty Breezy says, 4,000 vids is a lot. Why do you still post a video every day? Is it because YouTube's your main job? I will work backwards again. YouTube, my main job? No. And the thing about YouTube, people who post videos, is not a job. So no. YouTube, and to answer your question anyway, the answer is still no. And he says, why do I still post a video every day? Why not? It's what I enjoy to do. The same reason you do the things that you do, because you, for some reason, something is motivating you to do it. Maybe you're being forced to do it. Maybe you receive some reward for doing it. Maybe you enjoy it. Whatever it is, there's some motivation for you. My motivation is I enjoy doing it. CJ Wade says, I don't have a question, but I want to say thanks. I've been a fan for a long time, since I was in 8th grade. I've seen a lot of tutorials. Got several of your Hoop Handbook programs, which are great, by the way. One day I'm gonna be in Miami and hope you're ready to catch an L in one-on-one LOL. I'm LOL and 2 at that, CJ. He says, but real talk, thanks, bro. Your vids are much appreciated. Well, thank you, CJ, and you're welcome. I'm glad your game has improved so much, and I appreciate hearing comments like that from people who've been using the stuff that I've been putting out and things I share to develop themselves as people and as players. I appreciate that. Anton Guthu Jansen says, Dre, I broke my thumb 3 weeks ago, so I haven't been able to play basketball. I worked out a lot in the off season, so I'm afraid of losing my progress because of the injury. Do I think a month break from basketball will affect my skills, handle, etc.? Well, Antoine, what the hell does it matter? What can you do about it? It doesn't matter if, well, he said he broke his thumb so he can't play basketball. I get that. If you break your thumb, you probably can't play basketball. He says, I'm afraid of losing my progress because of the injury. What are you afraid of? If you lose your progress, what's going to happen? You tell me. Are you going to die? Is somebody going to take you to jail? You're going to lose all your money? Somebody going to take your house away from you? What's going to happen to you if you lose your progress? You can't play basketball, so there's nothing you can do to maintain wherever you were at before your thumb broke. There's nothing you can do about it because your thumb's broke. You can't play basketball. You could probably do stuff with the other, whichever hand doesn't have a broken thumb, you could probably do things with that hand. But you won't be able to do your normal stuff that you do with 2 hands. You need 2 hands to play basketball. So whatever way you go backwards, you can put in that same work and get right back to where you were before. And do I think a month break will affect your skills or handles? Of course a month break is going to affect your skills and handles. But whether that's a positive thing or a negative thing is up for you to decide. Is this a positive? Is in now this gives me a chance to put in more work and prove that I'm bigger than the situation? Or is it going to be a negative that I'm going to use the situation as an excuse and talk about what I'm afraid of or worrying about if it's going to affect my game? There's no point in worrying about things, because usually when you worry about something, the most negative part of the thing you're worrying about, it usually happens. If any of you ever heard of a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, one thing he says is never sit and worry about things. And first of all, nothing you can receive in life is worth worrying about it. And number 2, when you worry about something negative, very rarely will it disappoint you by not showing up. When you worry about negativity, the negativity will find you and come get you. Anything that you're thinking about, This is a Tony Robbins thing, I guess. Anything that you're thinking about focusing on, it comes to you. So if you focus on positives, positives will come. If you focus on negatives, negatives will definitely come. They rarely miss an opportunity to find somebody who's calling them. And when you're thinking about something, you're calling them. So you keep calling negativity, it's gonna come. Next question, Andrew Person says, would you recommend lifting /leg workouts during the season? Well, Andrew, that question can only be answered on a case-by-case basis by individual players. It's not about any one answer, like, okay, all basketball players should lift with their legs during the season, or all basketball players should not. It doesn't work like that. One player, it may be good for them. Another player might not be good for them. So what I would say, Andrew, is that you test some things out, whatever you're considering. See how your body responds, see how you feel, see how your players are affected, and then you make decisions from there. Next question, Onin Only says, Dre, I want to be the best basketball player. I worked on my game. I researched the fundamentals of basketball for 3 years, gotten a different view of the game. But in pickups, I seem not to be serious. All I do is play around. How can I be serious in game situations? I want to have the Jordan mentality. I'm 6 feet tall. And, okay, so he says, how can he be serious in basketball? He wants to have the Jordan mentality. Well, there's really no how-to to that. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. Nobody can open up your brain and make you think a certain way. The only person who can control your mind is you. And your mind is basically the only thing in this world that you have 100% control over at all times. Nobody can do anything to your mind that you don't allow them to do. So you have to figure out what it is you really want, why it is you're playing basketball. And if you want some material that you can use that may be able to help you get there, then I would suggest the Mental Handbook, Dre All Day / Mental Handbook, or Mirror Motivation, Dre All Day / Mirror of Motivation. Outside of me, another good book I would say for the mentality side of sports would be Relentless by Tim Grover. Next question, Nate Dogg 13. On average, how much money do you make playing overseas? There is no average, Nate Dogg. There is no pay scale overseas. Unlike the NBA, there is no minimum salary, there is no maximum. So whatever you negotiate and or accept is what you get. B. Austin 0 says 2 questions. Do I have workouts for smaller players? Well, B. Austin, depends on how small you're talking, but the answer is yes. And it depends on what that player's game is. Just because a player is quote unquote small doesn't mean there's a certain way they need to work out, play, practice, think. Each player has to decide what their game is. So just by being a certain size doesn't mean there's a certain workout that's just for you. Number 2, what books do I read? Go to my website, dreallday.com. There's a link that says About. Under the About page, there's a link that says Books I Read. So you can click on that and you can see all the books that I read, including the book that I'm reading right now. Next question. Blaze is here. It says, how can I improve my speed? Depends on what speed you're talking about, Blaze. I have a playlist called Speed and Quickness, so you should check that out. That's where you can begin. Next, FFF says, Dre, I have 2 questions. How important do you think diet is for a teenage baller, and do you have a dog? And it says that you read some of Dog Whisperer books. Do you like the concept? Keep up the good work. Number 1, how important do I think diet is for a teenage baller? Diet is important for anybody at any age, whether they play basketball or whether they write books or whether they perform surgeries every day. Doesn't matter your age, size, or occupation. Diet is important for everybody because you only get one body, and once that body is gone, that's it. You can't get another one. And the second one, do I have a dog? No, I do not have a dog. Black Ops Troop says, if you was in the NBA, what team would you want to be on? Any team. I've been asked that question 1,000 times. Daniel Murphy says, what's your favorite basketball movie? Have you ever been or plan on going to Ireland? I don't have a favorite basketball movie. I'm not a movie person. I rarely watch movies. Have I ever been to Ireland? No. When I was in Germany one year, I was leaving Germany. I was about to go back home to Germany, but my agent at the time was talking to a team in Ireland, and they were going to sign me to come play. And Christmas was on a Saturday that year, and they had a game that day, Christmas Day. And my then girlfriend probably would have been very upset if I'd have signed that contract and went to Ireland, but I damn sure would have had they decided to sign a player, but they ended up deciding not to sign anybody. So I ended up going home for Christmas, but that was the closest I ever came to going to Ireland. So no, the answer is no, I have not been to Ireland. Anthony Titus Says, can you do another hoop session in Miami, preferably in the Broward area, maybe even a free workout session? Well, Anthony, I'm all out of free workout sessions. That's not going to happen again. You missed the first one. You're just going to have to watch the video. Will I do something else? Well, that could be a gathering for players in the future, probably, but it's not going to be the same as the one that already happened. Yoel Geed says, I just got cut from the team. I'm in 10th grade. I know time is running out if I want to do something with basketball in my life. I got dreams of playing in the NBA, however crazy that may sound. But I just started playing in 7th grade. Everyone's so much better than me because of experience. What do I do? I practice every day, but my work never pays off. I feel like giving up. It hurts to get cut every year. I feel like a failure. First of all, you're in 10th grade, and you're talking about you want to do something with basketball in your life. The first thing you need to do is look up the video that I made that's called If You Got Cut from the Basketball Team. I made a video like this for players just like you who are feeling just like you're feeling, and that'll help pick you up mentally to get ready to go back and put the work in so you'll be ready for next year. And after you get done watching that video, the only thing you need to do between now and the next time you get a chance to prove yourself is work on your fucking game. The world, the coaches, the other players around the globe, none of them are going to stop and mourn for you because you're feeling down right now. Now, I understand that it may be an emotional situation, it may be a period of grieving or whatever you want to call it because you didn't make the team, but the player that you're going to have to compete against for a spot next year, they're not going to stop practicing because you're feeling sorry for yourself. They're going to keep practicing, and they're getting ahead of you right now while you're down, drowning in your sorrows. So you better get back to work as soon as possible so that you're ready for your next opportunity. Nia Mukasa says, I'm currently reading Jump Attack thanks to you. That's the book that I just posted a review on that page about books I read on my website. For those who don't know what Jump Attack is, go to that link and read it. And Naya said, I was wondering if it's possible you could explain how to do the fire hydrants. I don't understand when Tim says rotate the hips forwards, backwards, and sideways. Oh, sorry, Naya, I can't explain it. I did not write that book, nor did I design the program. You either A, can contact Tim and get an answer, or B, do it to the best of your understanding. Next, Strange Hands 89 says, bro, how do you keep yourself calm and relaxed when playing ball and working out are not enough to shake off unpleasant thoughts? I'm talking about issues with girls in particular. How do you keep yourself calm and relaxed? I guess to answer that question, try meditation. Since working out hasn't done it for you, try calming down and actually relaxing, because a workout's not going to make you calm down. A workout's going to bring everything up. So if you want to bring things down, try meditation. There are plenty of apps you can get for whatever smartphone device you have right now that you can meditate using your phone. Next is Kirti Korha says, Dre, what does taking what the defense gives you mean? See, I hear this a lot when people talk about good scores. What does it actually really mean? I don't know how to properly word in English because English isn't my first language. Taking what the defense gives you, that quote, taking what the defense gives you, close quote, that means instead of trying to force the action, you allow the action to come to you. So you catch the ball and you want to try to score, but you see the defense is kind of set up that you really don't have many options. You don't have to try to force your way into scoring, because then you'll end up taking bad shots, turning the ball over, and alienating teammates who might be open while you're taking bad shots. So letting the game come to you is a synonym, exact same thing. Taking what the defense gives you is waiting until there's an opening. You're paying attention. When you see that opening, you're able to instinctively react and take the opening and get your shot. So that's what it means, taking what the defense gives you. And if you still don't understand, what you probably won't just from listening to me talk about it, is you need to play a whole lot more basketball so you can learn from doing. You're not going to learn everything about basketball from talking, listening, and reading and watching. You got to actually get out there and do it. And that's an issue that a lot of players have. They want to talk all day and watch all day and listen all day and read all day, but they don't want to put in the work. They don't want to actually physically get out there, take their lumps in situations where they're not that good or not that experienced, and then they have one bad experience, then they come crying about it, and then they never go back out there again. And those are the players who end up 20 years later talking about what they could have did in basketball. You have to go out there and take those L's, take those losses, have those bad days. The main thing is you got to come back, because a player who doesn't come back that next day, that's it for them. They're done. Next question. Ashan Khan says, thanks to you, I finally figured out what triggers my mental zone on the court. No, Sean, congrats on finding that. Amazing One says, Dre, the fact that you're not in the NBA shows how hard it is to get in because you're good. Well, thank you. And he says, how can you get a girl that never had a boyfriend before and is shy? Well, I would say, number one, you can go and talk to her, introduce yourself, tell her who you are if she has no idea who you are, and just be honest. I mean, nobody can fault you for honesty, whether they like it or don't like it. At least at that point, you'll know if she's interested in you or if she's not. What exactly you should say, there's no real handbook for that. And if there is, I definitely did not write it. So you could take that advice for what it's worth and maybe go look for some more. But I would say actually go out there and do something, because the longer you think about it and talk about it and kind of contemplate on it, that's called, what's the word I'm looking for? It's called indecision. Indecision is one of the top things that leads to fear, because if you let indecision sit for so long, you forget what you're deciding on, and it ends up becoming like a phobia or a fear to you. And that's also something I read from Napoleon Hill. Next question. NBA General says, this may seem like a weird question. This is the last question. In the NBA, if your team is down by 1 point, what players would you want with the ball in their hands? Who are your top 5 clutch players in the NBA? I would still say at this point, I still say Kobe. I would say Stephen Curry is one. I'll say LeBron James another. 2 more clutch players. I'm gonna have to go with Damian Lillard. And 1 more clutch player with 5 seconds or less in the game. I'm gonna go Dirk Nowitzki. Those would be my 5 in no particular order. That's it. That's all, everybody. Thank you for the questions. This week's Q&A was more questions than I thought it was, but the questions have been continually good. I think the quality of these was a little bit lower than the previous week, so I want y'all to bring the quality up next week. Again, if you want a detailed answer, ask me a detailed question. Doesn't mean you got to write 3 paragraphs, but just ask a specific question. Even if it only needs to be two sentences, make it specific, and I can answer for you specifically. But if you ask me something general, then there's not really much I can give you. Thank you for coming through with the questions, everybody. Again, leave your questions in the comments to this video. I will get to them next week. Work on your fucking game. WOYG.net for all your merchandise needs. HoopHandbook.com for all your training needs. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.